Welcome to Futex. There are still traces of ancient people's rituals to planets and stars in the names of the days of the week today. The moon is worshipped on Monday, Mars on Tuesday, Mercury on Wednesday, Jupiter on Thursday, Venus on Friday, Saturn on Saturday, and Sunday on the Sun. According to the ancient Indian epic Mahabharata, the Earth has lived for 4.32 billion years, which is very similar to the Earth's age calculated by modern astronomers of 4.6 billion years. Take a look at what is before you, the product of 4 or 5,000 years ago. It may seem strange, but the marking in the top left corner is believed to show human civilization from more than 4,000 years back in the solar system. Be sure to inspect the one in the center. There are 11 planets around the Sun as opposed to what we think of now with 8. In fact, this is the standard of our modern society. Its definition changes with time. When I was growing up, the solar system still had 9 planets, but now it only has 8. If you are interested in learning why Pluto was downgraded from a planet to a planet and why we changed the standard, please watch my other video, Pluto. The International Astronomical Union determined this in 2006 because Pluto is too small to clear other celestial bodies in its own orbit and it overlaps with Neptune's orbit, so Pluto was downgraded. Pluto might still have been ranked first 4,000 years ago, even if there weren't such definitions in ancient times. Let's take a closer look at the picture. The big one in the middle is undoubtedly around the Sun. It includes Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, as well as the Earth with the Moon. Thus, perhaps the ancients thought that the Moon's status in the solar system was not longer than these planets, so it was shaken. There are still 10 planets in the pattern that we are most familiar with. However, there is still a strange planet on the side. What is it? When the ancients observed the solar system more than 4,000 years ago, why can't we find their astronomical equipment that could observe the entire solar system? This larger planet is believed to be the Nibiru in Sumerian mythology. According to their mythology, the gods came from this planet, and the Sumerians were also made of these muds. As an example, the gods above created the planet Nibiru. According to Zecharia Sitchin, who believed that Nibiru was part of the solar system as well, but we have yet to observe it. For example, he believes you have a relatively long cycle. Most of the orbits are in the solar system, and a small part is outside. Nibiru is 3,600 years orbit. The last time the solar system came was more than 2,000 years ago. Throughout the world, this view has caused uproar and controversy. As far as we modern people are aware, this is true. First of all, we cannot observe Neptune with our naked eyes on the planet Earth, and it is much harder to find it with a telescope. In the eyes of most people, it is definitely a coincidence that the ancients were able to have better eyesight than the current telescope. So no matter how good their eyesight was, we cannot accept that it could be better than the current telescope. Although you may not be able to see Neptune or Pluto, the ancients left us with evidence. How do you explain that? It's hard to say if the ancients had another aspect of technology we do not know about. Among all the stars in the present night sky, let's take Uranus, which is visible to the naked eye, but you might not be able to distinguish it even if I showed it to you. At least in the eyes of most people, it is a coincidence that the Sumerians recorded all this when there were no telescopes. We don't know whether the ancients could see Neptune or Pluto, but they just left evidence for us to see. It's hard to say whether the ancients had any other technology we do not know about. Let's take Uranus as an example of the present night sky full of stars. Uranus can be seen with the naked eye, but even if I show it to you, you may not be able to find it. The Sumerian civilization, established around 4000 BC in southern Mesopotamia, was incredibly advanced for its time. Especially impressive was its level of astronomy. It is remarkable how the measurements made by their observatories were only 0.4 seconds away from our calculations today. Sumerians appear to have known that a year lasted 365 days, 6 hours and 11 minutes, just 3 minutes shy of the length as determined with modern scientific data. Whether this difference truly existed or not still remains an unanswered question. What is the age of computing in Sumer? Who performed this calculation in Sumer? There is striking consistency between the stars depicted on some Sumerian tablets and drawings and what we know today. In addition, each star has planets of varying sizes surrounding it. The Sumerians did not have the technology to observe celestial bodies like we do today. How did they know there were planets around the stars? A clay tablet discovered in Nineveh records a huge number, 195 955 200 0000000. This is known as the Nineveh constant. Remember that even at the height of Greek civilization, no number exceeded 10,000. Anything larger than this number is simply referred to as infinity. It's been nearly a century since the appearance of this number, but until 1975 nobody knew its true meaning. That year, Maurice Chatelain from France managed to decipher it. When divided by the number of seconds in a day, it yielded exactly 2.268 billion days. Converted into years, that made up more than 6 million years. So what was the importance of this long span of time? Having done various calculations, Chatelain discovered that it is a common multiple of the revolution time for all celestial bodies in our solar system around the Sun. And that's how the Nineveh constant was deciphered. Yet, how did the Sumerians come to know about this value? After all, Neptune and Pluto cannot be seen with just our eyes. Tech equipment and electronic computers were necessary to make such an observation and arrive at this figure, an accomplishment which would have otherwise seemed unimaginable. The Sumerians, an ancient civilization that flourished in Mesopotamia, possessed an extraordinary knowledge of astronomy that allowed them to explore and comprehend the solar system. In addition to providing practical benefits, their astronomical records fostered a deep connection between celestial events and their religious beliefs. The Sumerians' interest in astronomy stemmed from their deep reverence for the heavens. They meticulously observed the night sky, recording the movements of celestial bodies over long periods of time. As a result of tracking the sun, moon, planets, and stars carefully, the Sumerians were able to discern patterns and understand the celestial dance by accumulating valuable data. The Sumerians documented their astronomical findings on clay tablets, with their signature cuneiform writing system. Referred to as the Enuma Anu Enlil, these documents featured a range of celestial events and their significance, offering a wealth of knowledge on the solar system. This included details such as planetary movements, lunar phases, and eclipses. Thanks to the durability of clay, this data could be successfully conserved and passed down in order to encourage the ongoing development of Sumerian astronomy. Most records of Sumerian knowledge are lost today, leaving only a few tantalizing fragments of cosmic knowledge. The earliest total solar eclipse in Ugarit on May 3, 1375 BC is recorded on Babylonian clay tablets that have survived since the dawn of Mesopotamian civilization. Early Babylonian records use Sumerian names for stars, suggesting that a body of knowledge was transmitted to the Babylonians indirectly. There are 11 celestial bodies or planets found on some Sumerian tablets. The above picture is taken from a Sumerian cylinder seal, showing the solar system was heliocentric. The planets could represent 9 planets and 2 moons, but it's unclear whether they knew which bodies rotated the sun. A 12th body is shown away from the solar system. At that time, there were no telescopes, so how did the Sumerians know all this and record it? Neptune was discovered for the first time in 1846, and its existence was only calculated. And the first color photos of the planet were taken by the American Voyager probe in 1989. Due to its interpretation of Sumerian literature, the Protos knows the color of Neptune. Sumerians not only knew about Neptune more than 4,000 years ago, but also knew its color. It took Copernicus hundreds of years to determine whether or not our solar system is centered on the Earth or the Sun. Laugh at our technological capabilities with reality. The Sumerians left more knowledge than that, whether it is astronomy or life. There are 800,000 clay tablets of their writing, and only 100,000 have been published so far. Scientists are in the process of detecting a body with a wider orbit than the solar system's outer planets. Farming, writing, and religious practices are remnants of Sumerian culture that shaped ancient Mesopotamia. Until further evidence of pre-Sumerian cultures is found. Sumer leads as the candidate for the foundation of modern society. How would you describe Sumer's contribution to our society? They were the first civilization, weren't they? Thanks for watching.